Hello, is it shoe you're looking for? If that's the case, you're in the right place. Welcome back to the channel today, guys. I'm going to be discussing wet weather running gear. I hope you're all doing fine out there, guys, in these testing times. Certainly in the UK at the moment, it's a real moisture fest. We got considerable rainfall that's making those runs a little bit tougher. Those daily miles are a ritual of going out and getting drenched and trying somehow to keep ourselves from serious saturation. Today I'm going to explore my selected gear for wind and rain through the wet winter months. I have realised as I've started to make this video that pretty much all of the gear that I'm going to discuss is in the washing machine. But I'll throw some images up on the screen so you get the gist. So first off, it's got to be a hat of some sort with a peak to keep the rain from your eyes. I got a load of the different tailwind hats from Nike, I think they're called, and they seem to do the trick just fine. Easy to wash and very, very easy to dry. They're relatively inexpensive as well, they come in about £15 to £20. You're going to need a jacket, and fortunately for me, my Nike Shield Flash jacket that I got from a couple of years back is still holding up just fine. This one's been discontinued, but they do a modern version of it, or at least a 2020 version. It does just enough to protect you from the wind, which can be a bit of a problem, especially if the temperatures drop and it's very wet. You're going to get cold very quickly if you haven't got a reasonable jacket, though I do still need to supplement it with some sort of warmer attire underneath. Today though, it was like 11 degrees out there, but really wet and really windy, so a vest sufficed under there, but typically you'd have to wear like a long sleeve when it gets cooler. That jacket washes really well, and it's got some decent sized pockets as well, so if you are taking some gloves out with you but you don't want them the whole time, you can store them away in the pockets. It does have a hood, and at the back of it there's a toggle tie so you can tighten it up so it's not moving around too much. It's nice and fitting then. So with that cap and the jacket, you've kind of got the perfect scenario. Again, this one dries really quickly, which is a real boon in this time of year. Next up is my windproof gloves from Sealskinz. That's right, windproof. Over the last couple of weeks, these have really proved to be worth their weight in gold. And I believe that gold was about 25 quid. Earth credits, sorry. These have kept the hands and the fingers warm in some quite cool conditions recently. Aside from being windproof, they do seem to be moisture proof as well. Or at least there's some level of water repellency there. Do be careful on fit with these though, guys. The large size for me is about right. I think if I'd gone from an extra large, then there would have been far too much room there. They're already quite sizable gloves. Kind of look like I've got one of those mitts that you wear when you go to a sports event. It's mainly the finger length really for me. I've got long pianist fingers. You can bung these straight in the washing machine without any problems, hang them up to dry, and you'll be good to go in several hours once again. At the moment when you go out there, you feel a little bit like Scott of the Antarctic. You've just got to make the first few steps, and once you've done about a mile, you're okay and not wondering whether you've lost your marbles. Staying with Sealskinz, we got to talk socks now. Last Christmas I was lucky enough to receive some socks from my mother and father-in-law, and they've come in handy over the last couple of weeks. I've got the waterproof warm weather ankle length socks from Sealskinz. Again, I went for a large, which seems to be about right. These do certainly make a snug shoe probably unusable though. They are quite thick. There's a couple of shoes actually that I haven't been able to use with these, so it has kind of dictated my shoe selection a little bit recently. That's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately. I have to say though that these do work a treat if you're into serious puddle pouncing and some flood frolicking. Try saying that at double speed, it ain't easy. These retail for around about £30, but I think they're a really good investment for anti-frosty foot fun. So that takes care of your clobber, but what about your shoes? I think you can probably look at this in two ways. You can either go for a shoe that easily allows moisture to escape from it, or one which helps to stop the moisture from getting to your foot in the first place. So which do I find the most useful for wet weather wandering? First up is the low moisture sucking upper abilities of the Nike Tempo Next Percent. You weren't expecting that, were you? Now the reason I like this shoe for wet weather is the fact that the upper just doesn't hold on to any water whatsoever. It just escapes really quickly, and that's a good thing in this weather. It's almost like a chainmail type effect at the front here, and the shoe allows the rainwater to escape really easily. There's not really many areas where it can stay, maybe in the spongy heel collar here, but that's about it. Plus you're higher up away from that water with the gigantic stack height here. I'm kidding, right? The shoe dries naturally very quickly. but you will have to put out that crushed Zoom X insole to help speed up the process and help it lose the ooze. Another shoe that says moisture be gone is the Asics Metaracer. I think this could be the ideal shoe if you're going to do lots of racing in very wet conditions. A shoe that's got several design nods that really do try to expel or not hang on to any moisture or water. I mean, at the front of the shoe here, you've got the USB port. I mean, that little toe hole here that's clearly designed to let water out. I've never encountered a shoe with this sort of feature. This shoe's got more holes in it than a piece of Swiss cheese. Even at the back of the shoe, in the ankle, there's some perforated sections to allow more water to escape. Maybe it's for breathability. I don't know, it just works really well in the wet. As I say, minimal padding here in the heel collar. Even the laces just seem slightly waxy. Maybe it's to help repel moisture. Maybe it's just because that's the only laces they had. Either way, a great wet winter racer. When the going gets tough, the tough pick up a Legend React 3 Shield. I picked this one up with wet winter weather running in mind, and it's already paying back its initial cost. That water repellent finish on the upper really does work as I drove through some flooded pathways and the rain-soaked roads today. The internal lining of the shoe really helps to keep your foot dry, certainly drier than a standard shoe anyway, at the cost of a little excess weight. Another winner is the sticky rubber on the outsole. It's highly sectioned with loads of different traction patterns all over it. It provides some assured grip on some leaf-laden paths and even works quite well on wet metal grates and covers. I was going to give an honourable mention as well to the Wave Rider Neo from Mizuno. The upper here is really interesting. It's almost like a neoprene type material. It does feel like something you'd find on a wetsuit. There's a little bit of padding here in the back, but again it's made of that neoprene material. So certainly one that worked quite well in the wet weather for me. I'm going to see if I can get out again in this shoe and test out its chops, as it's a bit of a torture test at the moment out there for any running shoe. And of course it's got wave in the name and it's practically an ocean outside right now. So what gear works for you in the pouring rain? What do you grab when there are wet underfoot conditions? Let us know in the comments below. A quick musical recommendation for you. We all know the Chuck Berry Christmas tune Run Run Rudolph, right? But I've discovered a really great version of it. Lemmy, obviously famous from Motorhead, Billy F. Gibbons and Dave Grohl have done a version and it's absolute dynamite. I found this on the album We Wish You a Metal Christmas and a Headbanging New Year. The guitars are tearing, the bass line persistent, and Dave Grohl's drumming exceptionally good. Lemmy sounds like he's been gargling with extra gravel today. Billy F. Gibbons on guitar really produces some smashing rocking sounds. And put all those things together and it's just a really triumphant version of the track. Just made me smile the instant it came on. All the elements are there. Great overdriven guitars, that very distinctive bass sound from Lemmy, and the precise drumming from Dave Grohl. So do check that one out. Run Run Rudolph by Lemmy, Billy F. Gibbons and Dave Grohl. Okay, that's just about all for me for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in, I do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, please hit that subscribe button and click the bell below for notifications of when we launch those new videos. And really does help the channel out too if you give this video a thumbs up like and share it with your running buddies. My name's EDDBUD and I'll be seeing you